For Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has just instituted a rule that stipulates that players are required to play in 80% of their games during the season in order to qualify for postseason awards. Now, the postseason awards include All Defensive Team, All NBA Team, Defensive Player of the Year, and League Most Valuable Player. Now, in order to qualify for those postseason awards, you have to play in 80% of the games, which means you have to play in 65 of your 82 games during the season just to qualify for those awards. Now, it's not so much that the players are upset because they really want to load manage, and it's not so much that the players are upset because they really feel like, oh my God, I'm an all-NBA player, I'm an all-defense player, I should be MVP, but I can do that in 50 games. The players are upset because of the money. Plain and simple. Just like any other situation, if you want to know the root of a problem, you follow the money. The players are upset because of the money, and here's why. If an NBA player is really good, then he qualifies for a max contract. After his rookie deal, he qualifies for a max contract. Now, a max contract stipulates this way. If you've played less than 7 years in the NBA, your max contract qualifies you for 25% of the total salary cap. And your max contract, if you've played more than 7 years, qualifies you for 30% of the total salary cap. Now, if you qualify for a supermax deal, you qualify for a contract that will pay you 35% of the salary cap with 8% raises each year. Now, under the previous contracts, you would get 30% of the salary cap, and as the salary cap goes up, you would continue to get 30%. But a supermax means you're going to get a 35% of the salary cap plus 8% raises each year, which means if the salary cap only goes up 3%, you're going to be making more than 35% of the salary cap. Now, let's do a little math to explain this. Let's say, for instance, you've been in the league 8 years and you're eligible for a contract and you're a max contract qualified player, which means you're really good. You've been an all-star and you've got some postseason awards. Now, if you're going to get 30% of the salary cap, and let's say the salary cap is $150 million, then you are going to get $45 million. But then if the salary cap goes up to $160 million, you're only going to get $48 million on that second year. Now, if you are a supermax player and the salary cap's $150 million, you're going to get $52.5 million. And then if you get an 8% raise, you're going to get another almost $5 million that second year. Even if the salary cap only goes up to $155, you're still going to get another $4 to $5 million extra on your raise the second year. But in order to qualify for a supermax contract, you have to have been MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, All NBA, or All Defense within the last 3 years of your previous contract. The additional kicker to a supermax contract is you get a 5th year guaranteed, which means if you sign with your original team on a supermax deal, you're going to get 35% of the salary cap with 8% raises each year and a 5th year guarantee, which means by the time you reach that 5th year, you will be at almost 40% greater than your original deal, which means if you're making $50 million during the first year, you could be making almost $70 at the back end of your contract. And if you sign it at your 7th or 8th year, that's year 13 when you're probably not as good as you used to be, but you're making $70 million, which means if the salary cap goes up to, let's say, $180 million, you're making almost 40% of the salary cap or greater in year 13 when you're probably not as good as you could be. Think about it this way. Klay Thompson is at that point in his career and he's had multiple leg injuries, multiple leg surgeries. And if you watch his game this year, he's not as good as he was 2 or 3 years ago. But if he's on a supermax deal, then he's at almost 40% of the salary cap by himself, which is why the Golden State Warriors, with Steph as a supermax player and Draymond as a supermax player and Klay as a supermax player, are always paying $400 million on a salary cap that's about $140 million, which means they're paying about $200+ million in luxury tax. So the players are angry. about the new rule, but they're not angry about the new rule because they want to load manage. They're angry because of the money. They feel like they can be all NBA, they can be all defense in 40, 45, 50 games. But what they really want is the Supermax deals. And if I tell you that you can't be all NBA or all defense if you don't play 65 games, then that interferes with your ability to get a Supermax deal. Now, Joel Embiid, the reigning MVP of the league, has set out already the maximum number of games that he can sit out to qualify for postseason awards. Now, he's already won the MVP during this current contract, which means he would qualify for a Supermax. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that he hadn't already made all defense, and he hadn't already been defensive player of the year, and he hadn't already been MVP, and he hadn't already been all NBA. And he's playing this year at a super high level, and he's going to qualify for at least all NBA, if not MVP this year. Let's say he hadn't already done it, but this season his numbers would qualify him for these awards. But then he misses 18 games because of injury, or because he chose to sit out because he was hurt. Then he wouldn't qualify for those awards, and now he wouldn't be eligible for a Supermax deal. This is why a lot of people think that Joel Embiid was playing hurt so that he would qualify for these awards, and this is why people feel like Joel Embiid is injured now, because he played hurt so that he would be eligible for the postseason awards, and by playing hurt, he injured his ailment. And the players are upset. What they need to understand is the rule is the rule. And if that's the rule, you play by the rule until you can get the rule changed at collective bargaining. But at the same time, this rule wouldn't be in effect if there hadn't been so many players opting not to play in the national television games simply because they played the night before, or because they don't want to play for whatever reason. Kawhi Leonard, when he signed with the Clippers, told the Clippers he intends to play no more than 60 games a year. And that's fine if you can get that in your deal. But by doing that, that means you're sitting out 22 games, which means you're missing quite a number of nationally televised games. And by missing those nationally televised games, the ratings aren't as high. And when the ratings aren't as high, the league doesn't make money. And Adam Silver gets upset because the league doesn't make money. So he wants his best players playing in the most important games so that the ratings will go up and so that the league will make money. And when the league makes money, the players make money. But the players don't want to play in every game every season, which means that there's an impasse. Play in more games, the league makes money. Don't play in more games, players lose money. So the players have to figure out what it is they want. Do they want to sit out and load manage thinking it'll make them healthier for the playoffs when it's shown that a lot of the load management guys haven't won championships? Or do you want to play in the games, help the league make money so the salary cap grows so you can get your Supermax deal, and your Supermax deal can be worth a lot more? The players need to figure it out because they're looking at it from a today standpoint. If I don't play in 65 games today, I can't get a Supermax deal today. And my Supermax deal can't be worth $52 million today if the salary cap's $150 million. Instead of looking at it as, okay, if we play in these games and the ratings go through the roof and the advertisers and the networks want to pay extra to the league for our games, maybe the salary cap goes up to $200 million, and maybe a Supermax deal is 35% of $200 million, which is $70 million. The players aren't looking at the big picture, and they need to. Because if they don't, then they'll be looking at their contracts going, I make a lot of money today. Instead of, I make a lot of money right now, but I can make a lot more tomorrow if the league and the games are more valuable. They're not looking at it smartly, and somebody needs to smarten them up because it's a simple thing. Play in the important games, and the salary cap goes up. Remember to like and share this video and subscribe to this channel, and visit the Eric J on Sports website, and follow me on Facebook at Eric J on Sports 1 and on Instagram and Twitter at Eric J on Sports. And for Eric J on Sports, I'm Eric J, and this is what I think.